in the wake of the US NIE report, which reversed many of its previous baseless allegations against Iran's nuclear program, the IAEA Director General stressed that Iran has been vindicated in saying it has not been working on a weapons program. 3. In addition, the Security Council's actions are unjustifiable because the main pretext on the basis of which Iran's peaceful nuclear program was imposed on the Security Council, namely the outstanding issues, are now resolved and closed. The co-sponsors of today's resolution have argued in the past that Iran's peaceful nuclear program should be dealt with the Security Council due to unresolved outstanding questions. In order not to leave any stone unturned in its cooperation with the agency and to remove this much ballyhooed yet baseless pretext, Iran agreed to work with the agency on a work plan to address and resolve the outstanding issues. In this regard, the text of the understandings of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the IAEA on the modalities of resolution of the outstanding issues was negotiated and finally concluded in August 2007. The conclusion of the work plan, which has described as a significant step forward by the IAEA Director General, was an essential turning point in our cooperation with the agency. The same co-sponsors of today's resolution first cynically tried to overshadow the importance of the initiative, and when they failed to do so, spared no efforts to create all kinds of problems to hamper its successful implementation, and not least strive to politicize the trend to the extent possible. The statement of the IAEA officials, who had rightly complained that, I quote, the US is mounting a deliberate campaign to derail Iranian IAEA rapprochement, was noteworthy in this regard. Unquote. Those few countries have pursued their politically motivated agenda regardless of Iran's cooperation with the IAEA and the latter's report on such cooperation. Indeed, their unwarranted efforts to put the agency and its officials under pressure and to influence its reports are well known and need no elaboration. Despite all these negative policies and practices on the part of the said countries, we resolutely implemented the work plan in a sincere and serious manner. Even certain outstanding issues were addressed and resolved by Iran while negotiations were still ongoing on the context of the work plan. For instance, on 20th August 2007, well before the conclusion of the work plan, the agency stated with regard to the plutonium issue that, I quote, earlier statements made by Iran are consistent with the agency's findings and thus this matter is resolved, unquote. Moreover, the agency's report on 15 November 2007 stressed on the resolution of most of the outstanding issues. And finally, the latest report of the agency, circulated on 22nd February 2008, clearly declared the resolution and closure of all outstanding issues and emphasized in its paragraph 53 that, I quote, the agency has been able to conclude that answers provided by Iran in accordance with the work plan are consistent with its findings, unquote, and, I quote, considers those questions no longer outstanding, unquote. Additionally, the IAEA Director General declared the resolution of all outstanding issues in his remarks after the release of the report and said, I quote, we have managed to clarify all the remaining outstanding issues, including the most important issue, which is the scope and nature of Iran's enrichment program, unquote. While it was estimated that at least 18 months would be needed for the work plan to be implemented, Iran's unwavering and full cooperation with the agency made it possible for the work plan to be implemented in less than 6 months. It is worth mentioning that while based on the initial agreement with the agency, we were only supposed to address the past remaining issues, nevertheless, as a sign of goodwill and in line with its robust cooperation with the IAEA, the Islamic Republic of Iran considered the present issues as well. As a result, two important legal documents that are Safeguard Approach Document and Facility Attachment for Fuel Enrichment Plant in Natanz were negotiated, concluded, and finally put into force on 30 September 2007. Accordingly, the implementation of these documents has provided necessary assurances for the verification of enrichment activities in Iran for the present time and in the future. By resolving the outstanding issues with regard to its past activities, on the one hand, and conducting all its present activities, including the enrichment, under the full and continuous monitoring of the agency based on the IAEA statute, the NPT, and the comprehensive safeguard agreements. On the other, the Islamic Republic of Iran has removed any so-called concerns or ambiguities with regard to its peaceful nuclear activities in the past and present. Now that the work plan has been fully implemented and the outstanding issues have been resolved, there exists no justification for the continuation of the politically motivated and misleading call of lack of confidence by a few countries, countries that hardly number 4 among 192 member states of the United Nations, but always mischievously self-proclaim themselves to be speaking on behalf of the international community or the whole world. The IAEA Director General had said in 10 September 2007 that, I quote, resolving all outstanding verification issues would go a long way towards building the confidence of the international community in the peaceful nature of Iran's past nuclear program, unquote. Indeed, those who did not want to allow the agency to discharge its technical duties spared no efforts to undermine the momentum generated by the conclusion and implementation of the work plan. And in this regard, resorted to a systematic and relentless campaign of false claims, propaganda, intimidation, and pressure aimed at the agency, its Director General, some members of the Security Council, and the work plan. This unhealthy and ill-intended campaign had prompted a senior official of the IAEA to stress that, I quote, since 2002, pretty much of all the intelligence that's come to us from the United States has proved to be wrong, unquote. The so-called alleged studies issue is an example of such a fabrication and misinformation campaign. While the said baseless allegation, namely the alleged study, had not been an outstanding issue between Iran and the IAEA, a well-organized and pre-planned propaganda campaign began even before the release of the latest IAEA report in order to eclipse the landmark accomplishment that Iran has made in its cooperation with the agency in resolving the outstanding issues. As it is stressed in the work plan, I quote, Iran reiterated that it considers the alleged studies as politically motivated and baseless allegations, but as a sign of goodwill and cooperation with the agency, stated that upon receiving all related documents, will review and inform the agency of its assessment, unquote.